when you would walk in that place and you're in the basement or whatever, and the coat check floor, and above you, when that floor was bouncing, that was a good sign that the show was going to be a good show.
Mm-hmm.
The floor above you was just, I guess it's radio. It's radio. I got to describe it.
So they are playing the Stone Pony on April 8th.
That's next week. I can't do it.
It's sold out. It's the 40th anniversary of Wild in the Streets. So, and then they come back to 2 nights at Irving Plaza.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Our friend Paul is going to see. Is it Paul who's gone? No, our friend Enright, aforementioned Enright, is going to see X with the Psychedelic Furs. And I brought up, to all you guys that I just thought, well, that's an odd pairing.
Yeah.
And instead of anybody having anything,
constructive to say,
it became I like X, and you know what? I'm going to say I like the Psychedelic Furs too. Mirror moves, maybe that's the end of that road. But it's it's not like I didn't like them, but instead I got pilloried for. Well, I didn't, of course, but instead it was what did you say, John? Oh, there's no. I said there's no odd pairings when it comes to good music. Really? Yeah, I don't I'm not going to disagree with that, but I still, except for the age, and you would also have to say, because I was clearly thinking about it, I was like, is New World? Would you say that's X's biggest song?
4th of July might be the one that gets.
You think so?
Yeah.
So, but you're but on the strength of Molly Ringwald alone, that. The Furs are the headliner, right?
Oh, yeah.
They have to be.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And yet X is the better band.
The cooler band.
Well, that's what's really, that's what is funny is, so Psychedelic Furs, British, got radio play, got the movies, right? X, punk band, made some MTV plays, but never really caught on with that, right? It's House of Burning Love, New World, you hear it on the radio, but I still I think 4th of July might even to this day be the song that I hear the most on the radio, but they don't have a radio hit to their name. Or Psychedelic Furs, right. There's probably 2 besides Pretty in Pink. I'm trying to think.
Ghost Inside You too. I remember that Mirror Moves record had a couple of things. They did it
alternative radio, right? They were early,
They were just early enough to have credibility too amongst weirdos like us too. I liked their first record is great.
Their first record definitely was a weirdo record. Absolutely. It was they got by the third record, and that was kind of people I don't like this record kind of thing. But I'm saying with that X, I don't think ever really X just kept going. Right. And so they have, I just think at this point, right, the world is so narrow of people who would like the Psychedelic Furs that aren't
they're going for an age, they're going for the 55 to 65, right?
Right. Our group of people that go to shows narrows drastically, right? And so,
yeah, and that's what I was thinking. And my comment was going to be to the guy, the agency or whoever's booking it. He's like, okay, here's what we got, and it's we got to get Psychedelic Furs out on the road, and here's another band from that period. We put them on there too.
But Chris, also, to a certain extent, when you're booking that too, it's so who are you going to put with the Psychedelic Furs that are just like the Psychedelic Furs, so that you have to pay enough?
You're going to get off the top of my head, I'm putting Echo and the Bunnymen and Psychedelic Furs together on a tour.
No, but my point being is and to what point would you? So if you add X, do you sell additional tickets to people that wouldn't go if it was the Psychedelic Furs versus Echo and the Bunnymen? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So at what point it's okay, Echo and the Bunnymen probably could headline a similar tour, and it doesn't matter who the opener is, almost to a certain percent. This is sometimes you actually see literally the kids from the headlining band's band. Hey, hey, Richard Butler Jr., you got a cool band. You come out, you hang out with Dad for the summer. We're going to play some shit.
It's his grandson, by the way. I think it's his grandson. Because wasn't that guy, weren't we like, he was like the Andy Summers of that band too, wasn't he? Like just a little bit older already, I thought he was like, I'm surprised, John. I was waiting for you to say like, oh yeah, he was in 68. He was in the Bo Brummels. I wouldn't have been surprised.
Was he in a pub rock band in the 70s?
I think about it being his band. So, you know what I mean? It's, I'm looking.
It is. There was two brothers in it. Was there guitar player and sax player? Maybe were brothers.
He is 65 years old.
That's it. Okay.
AARP crowd.
Yes, he is.
I thought he might have been older than that. If you had told me he was 70, I would have bought it.
I'm looking.
I think 65 might be a little bit of that might be marketing.
No, that means so he'd be 21 when the band started.
Like 78? 77. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
which also gives him the credibility. You know what I mean? 77 they started.
It's one of those ones where you look at the band, right? And you're like, and you go to Wikipedia and it has current members, and then there's like 15 former past members.
Everybody and their mothers in that.
But that's what you had. Tim Butler, his brother's in the band.
Timmy, take care of your brother, Timmy. Make sure he goes on the road with you. Yeah. And so now the Butler son or grandson, you get in there.
No, he just has a daughter.
His other brother is Butler Ward. Butler.
Geezer Butler.
Well, they're geezers. They're geezer butlers.
Maggie Butler, middle name Mozart, is his kid.
And she's a fashion designer or an artist?
Yeah, right. Because the model mom, right?
Yeah, the hot mom. Wow.
Yes.
So, but you also don't want to you got to team them up with another band, but not that band doesn't overshadow the Echo and the Bunny Man. I think your argument is
X, who are you putting with X? You're going to put the Blasters. You're going to put maybe Robert Gordon. You could slip in. You could get the Flesh Eaters in there. You could
which way you're going, opener or X?
I'm just saying the X, the Los Angeles bands. The X would be like who would be around them. You can't really get the Germs. But that's same era, I would think.
Yeah, but those bands, I mean, all those other bands, except for the Blasters, they're nowhere near X's popularity as far as selling tickets.
Ray made a contention. I spoke to him yesterday that he thought X has a different. It was his contention that X has a different sort of their reputation, amongst us, but okay, and they're a successful band, but he thought they got more props in the Los Angeles area. He's like, oh, that's an LA band. If they play out here in LA, they're going to play, whatever, a bigger venue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Believe that? Yeah,
I think they'd get more cred there. And you also got to remember so John Doe, very established, right? He's an actor. Remember there was the Knitters that were very sort of before it was called Americana band,
absolutely huge, championed by the folks at the Knitting Factory, literally.
Yeah,
if you don't mind the punish.
But yeah, so there's all that, and then so yeah, they actually can fit into a wide variety of shows, because you could go Americana, you could go even a little alt country, they could play with
Dwight. You could stick them on a bill with Neil Young without a doubt.
Oh,
how about with Wilco?
Who hasn't Wilco ripped off that they can't play with? Wilco does essentially if you go through their whole catalog, they have influences from all over the place, from Crazy Horse to noise bands, they're kind of a wide range, from they could play with Sonic Youth, and they could play Wilco's kind of a smorgasbord. Yeah.
They don't do everything well.
But
they do it right.
Wilco has their own festival. I mean, Wilco doesn't. Wilco will come here and they will play like the Coney Island Stadium. They're not. They're
No, that the old tennis stadium.
Yeah, they would do that now. I think that's what they're actually doing now. But no, I think they've played it. They used to have shows at the Coney Island where
what is Forest Hills called now?
It's Forest Hills Tennis Stadium.
It still is. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Arthur Ashe thing now. That's
the actual
old venue, the old Forest Hills. Is it still called Forest Hills? Okay.
Private. It's the Forest Hills Tennis Club. They still play tennis there.
Is that right?
Yeah. There's a guy I used to work with that actually manages it, and they're only allowed so many concerts. They have a really tight curfew, but they got approval from the little community. It's a little gated community there, like with part of it being members of the tennis club, and so it is literally a tennis court, multiple tennis. It's center court where they play. That
section of Queens, by the way, if you ever get a chance and you want to read up about New York City, like whatever planning and development.
Oh
like it's an Olmsted place that and it's just like it's a green belt that was purposefully done that way.
Robert Moses' job?
No,
it's not Robert Moses. He was a different guy. He's an infrastructure guy. This was private development. This was Olmsted, Central Park. I guess he also did Prospect Park as well.
Yep.
Prospect Park was an interesting, read about that one too, the way that they put things together, because that guy would look into the future, like 100 years, 200 years, and say, this is what's going to happen with this hill here, with these trees, these little trees that we have here. And this is the way I see it in 200 years when these become mature oaks and this and that. And it will still have this light, just really, really cool, really and the New York City planners, they would leave for the summer to go out to Long Island and stuff like that. And really, a lot of it, he had a free hand to do a lot of stuff that he wanted to do, especially in Prospect Park. Because no one was around. He was the answer. He was like, okay, I did it, and this is what I'm going to do. And when it came to moving the earth and pushing the dirt and all that kind of stuff and doing it, there was nobody to tell him he couldn't, because they were all gone. They were all out of town. And so he really just kind of did his own thing, pretty cool. It's a great story.
You're listening to the Urban Planning Down, where we discuss landscaping, architecture, and shrubbery, topiary design.
So talking about this, though, it's certainly maybe better than what I was doing prior to coming down to my basement to do the podcast, which was it's April 3rd today, and I was watching the Grammys were on, and a couple of things, I didn't realize the back-to-back from the Academy Awards to the Grammys.
I thought there was more time between those two.
Yeah, you and me both. And I was kind of like, wow, they're doubling down on Sundays.
Yeah, they moved the Grammys. Grammys used to be in February. I can't remember. I think they moved them related to either it was ratings and then the pandemic, and they moved them. But they I think part of it is they actually get they were able to get more people, I think, when they put them that close, right? If people are in LA and they're a week apart. But I don't know how permanent this is, but they've been interesting because they're in Vegas. The Grammys are also in Vegas too.
Wait. The Grammys are in Vegas, but the Academy Awards is still in LA, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But I mean,
it's a quick drive to Vegas, is what you're saying. Yeah. or you take one of those private jets. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Kanye's taking a car.
I watched an hour of it, and they went to the rooftop, and there was a band up there. And I can't remember. They were internationally famous band that I've never heard of before.
The BTS guys, maybe, right? The Korean guys.
What's that?
Was it the Korean guys, the dance?
No. This was BTS? Up on the so they've got a venue where the Grammys are going on inside, and they have acts playing. So, whatever between the sheets or whatever that BTS.
BTS.
They came up and did their thing, and that was inside. And that's another band that just looks like it's more about whatever. I'm not telling you. It's more about style and production and dancing than it is.
That's all. That's their there's a whole other world there. That's all K-pop stuff. Those are
it's all K-pop stuff, and it's like huge conglomerate owns it. It's all. Well,
that's a whole industry, and no, that's not to say it's they're like an image thing. That's kind of like they're literally a factory.